Hi. So I know I said I'd do a live. I'm really sorry I'm not doing a live. Last time I did a live, it was a bit laggy and it took like a minute for people's comments for me to see them. So it was a bit awkward. Oh, so awkward if nobody turns up. So I thought I'd just record this instead. So this is going to be all about autumn. So these are activities that we can do in the pool, either by yourself or you can do them as part of a swimming lesson. It's aimed for instructors, really, of stuff that we can do. Okay, so I'm going to run through a themed lesson that I do in my classes, and then I'll look through all my notes. I've got loads of notes everywhere of different activities that we can do that I haven't added, and then we'll do some songs at the end. And I hope you'll find it useful. That's the main reason for this is to maybe help somebody who's like, oh God, I can't think of any ideas. So I'm going to upload this to YouTube and then share the link instead. So if you're just watching this on YouTube and you didn't know I was going to be doing a live and autumn themes. My name's Emma Holden. I run a swim school called Swim Play Academy up in Yorkshire, and I also run aquatic role play themes where I'm a tutor for the STA. I do workshops and things all over the country if you want those as well. Right, okay, so have a look. So the autumn role play that I've got for the pool is basically we're going to have like a bit of a weather forecast as a warm up. We're going to have then like a seasonal day out in the garden, a bit of tree climbing, a bit of an autumn walk in the leaves, jumping in puddles, and then we could perhaps go home for nice, snuggly cuddles, hot chocolate songs. So that's the story, and I like to do it as a story because for me, as an instructor, I can remember where I am in my lesson plan. So equipment that you're going to need for this particular version of the role play theme, you're going to need some fake leaves. So you get EVA sheets and you could cut out leaves. I used a cookie cutter, made it so much easier. Doesn't actually cut through, but you can really leave the indentation and then cut around it. Takes a lot of time, but I've had my ones now for a good 4 or 5 years, probably even longer to be fair. So yeah, some fake autumn leaves. You can have some visual aids, such as like some scarves, bright coloured balls. I've got some really nice orange balls for my autumn theme. I think's nice. You could make a noodle bridge. That's optional if you want. You could dangle leaves off. You can buy nets that look camouflagey as well if you go on Amazon or other places. Get the camo nets. They look nice over like a 2 or 3 noodle tunnel all over, and you get nice autumn colour ones. I don't have an autumn colour one, but I do have a green one that I use for my dinosaur week and my bear hunt and things like that. They've got blue as well if you want to do an under the sea one. But yeah, something like that. And then just if you use bouncy aids in your class, bouncy aids. If you don't use bouncy aids, then no bouncy aids. So the vocation, what does that mean? The focus of this theme that I've done, I adapted it to focus on flotation. So this is the autumn theme with a focus on flotation. But you could adapt it to whatever skill you want, and I'll talk about that as I go through. So obviously you're going to do your entry into the pool. That fits in with your risk assessments. Blah, 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 blah. You're all instructors, you know how to do that. So you get them in the pool. And then I like to ground everybody. So help set the scene. And a really nice grounding one for the parents because it's autumn and the children, if they understand, is grounding like imagining those roots growing from your feet and spreading out and imagine you're as strong as a tree, things like that, maybe some breathing. And then we can, with the older children, like the toddlers and upwards, that are going to understand what we're saying, we could be like, just telling them to know what season it is. Because quite often they've probably been doing it at nursery, at preschool. What happens to the trees at this season? What happens to the animals? And hopefully somebody will say the leaves fall off the tree or the animals go to sleep for the winter kind of thing. Hopefully, they know things like that. And then you could be like, what noises will we hear at autumn? So we're not just thinking about one thing, we're getting them to use all their senses. So, what would the wind sound like? Can you make that wind noise in the water? What would your body feel like if it was flowing in the wind? So once we've acclimatized, I know it's a bit hippie-ish, isn't it? But it just then they're ready to learn. They're switched on to the theme. We can have the weather forecast. So you could ask them, what's the weather like in I was it winter, but autumn. What's the weather like in autumn? Um, if we get rain, then we could do a little water sprinkles, to what that child likes. They could do massive kicks and get loads of splashes if that's what they like. They could get a cup of water and throw it in the air and see if they can catch it on the head. So lots of rain. We could do fast rain, slow rain, big rain, little rain, um, things like that. Windy, is it going to be windy? We could do some aquatic breathing, so blowing just the surface of the water, blowing under the water. We could do long breaths in, so you're getting that nice, like, relaxing breathing as well. So you could like say, right, let's breathe in for 4, hold it, and then let's breathe out for 8, kind of thing. So we're getting in a little bit of relaxation as well. Could they swish or sway like a tree? So they could sway their arm in the water like a tree, up and down. They could do it along the surface of the water. They could do it deep in the water. So they're getting that different feel of the different hydrostatics and dynamics of the water, the different properties. Maybe they could be like part of the wind, there could be a leaf twirling around and turning, maybe flipping forwards and backwards. There's my baby. Here she is. So going forwards and backwards, like we're swaying in the wind. So we're getting that chin in the water, getting the ears in the water, twirling around, maybe like, whoa. Lots of different rotation for the wind blowing. Sun, we could do like some big sunshine arms, or we could do them in the air. So we're warming up our body and we're getting to feel what the water feels like, and we're starting those practices. We could visually track from one side of the body to the other. So we're actually crossing that midline, starting at one side, we're going to the other. And same with that one, we could maybe do them both together because they're going to find that tricky. I know it's easy for us, but they are going to find that tricky. It's going to be quite a big thing for them to do. Maybe we could be the sun going behind a cloud and come in a ball and then spin back out again and shout boo when the sun comes back out from behind the cloud. We could be thunder. We could smack that water down to make a big noise. They could experiment with how deep they push the hand down to how many bubbles they get. Um, Lightning, maybe they could stand on the parents' knees and jump up like a big streak of lightning. We could maybe do push and glides from the wall where they put their feet on the wall so they're getting that nice proprioception of the sole of the foot on the wall, and they know where to press and how to press, the quality of the press they need to press to push off the wall like lightning. So there's lots of things that we could do for the weather, for our warm-up. What other weather do we have? I suppose you could have snow and you could do bigger splashes, couldn't you? You could have hail and they could do it up the parent. You could do it up the parent. Um, Okay, so then we're going to go for a little stroll in the garden. So we're going to do some tree climbing. So we could get them to hold on to the pool side, and we could hands together, hands apart, hands together, hands apart, and we could crab walk along the wall. They could turn and push off to the parent. We could get the parent to stand out like a tree. It's my doll again. And then the older child can see if they can get from one arm to the other arm by climbing along. Quite often what will happen is they'll end up rolling backwards or forwards, and it's helping them getting used to floating because they've got hold, and then they'll figure it out. They'll figure out how to get back up. So that's a good one. They can climb up as well. They could be like a squirrel climbing up a tree. So do some nice tree floating. Um, Obviously, we're going to adjust our holds to suit that child. So that child always feels in control. They always feel confident. We want confidence in the pool, basically. And if they don't feel in control and they don't feel safe, they're not going to be confident to go and do these tasks. So we're just adjusting the holds for this. So, for example, you wouldn't do this one with a baby because they can't do it. It wouldn't be achievable, and therefore it'd be demotivating. But they could hold on to the wall. They could maybe, you could get one of those EVA foam leaves that we talked about, and they could maybe track that with the head. So we're getting the body moving in different ways, helping that. We could scatter the EVA foams across the pool and they have to swim and get one, and then they come back and they can stick it on the parent for a bit of independence. They could do it together. So I've actually got, I should have got them for me. In fact, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to go get them because they're in the garage. Just 1 second. That was dead quick, wasn't it? Right. So these are the leaves that I was talking about. So I just got different kind of ones cut out. So they, you can see the size of them. So they could bring them back and stick them, they do stick when they're wet, to the parent and stuff if they want. So after we've done our little walk in the woods, we could maybe, let me see that, it's still wet in the pool, so I did this autumn thing last week. So I've got these little hedgehogs, and the idea is that they collect in the leaves and they stick them on. So, or they could be like hibernating them under the leaves. And then I've got the trees as well. And again, they can clip the trees on, or maybe the trees are built for. They can do whatever they want, basically. But we can ask them, if you do have these, this is just brown EVA foam that I just cut out. Do you want to be a tree or a hedgehog? Choice is always good, rather than let's do the hedgehog and they're like, I don't like being told what to do. So tree or a hedgehog, they can choose. They can go choose whatever colour leaf they want, whatever they want to do. So we could do that next. So all the time they're doing this, we're getting them used to different like ways to balance different vestibular. So sometimes on the front, sometimes on the back, and we're just waking up the system ready for when we do our floating legs. I said this was going to be focused on flotation. Um, so we could have like a little stroll. I'm just looking at my notes. So we could go through a noodle tunnel. Um, they could swim underneath it on the front. They could swim and roll over. They could do push and glides like a poo stick, traveling through the bridge, so you can get their stick to go the furthest. I mean, I suppose a lot of these are geared up for older children, but for the younger, for the babies, we can still get them to do this. So it'd be more like they push off the wall, so they're on the wall, bend the knees up, and when they push, the parent goes back with them, and we can adjust the hold to get them more back, more relaxed into the pool, so they're more here in the water, holding the hands. The rotation, you could go through on the tummy and then roll with the parent onto the back, so they're always supported. We could go through like this as they get a little bit older, flip-flopping to get them into this hold. You can really see you go forwards and backwards all independently. The parent can do it for them, which is good because sometimes the parents do like to do things because they want their child to be really good. But actually what they're doing is holding them back. So let them be independent. So we can have a little play through that noodle tunnel. So we've done the weather, we've done a bit of tree climbing, we've done like a little activity like this. Maybe I'll just stick into the parents tree climbing. We've gone through that noodle tunnel, bit of play through there, rotation, bit of flotation through there, bit of push and glide through there. And then we're going to do floating. And I really like this one. I like to get my leaves and say, look at these leaves. We could float like these leaves. So if we're going to float like the sycamore leaf, or I don't know if you're watching America, is it like a maple leaf? I don't know. Put your arms out like this and your head back. And then let the leaf float and just, look up at the ceiling. You're gonna be really flat but spiky like the leaf. So we could do some floating like the leaf, or we could float like this. It's more like a bay leaf or something, isn't it? So pointy, you have your arms up, you have your arms by your side, nice and pointy floating. Um, and then float like this, and then just let them have a think about, oh, what can I do? And they might stick their elbows out or the knees out to the side. Which was the easiest one to float like? Was it easy to float like this one? Like that one? Which one was the easiest? You could also do a float like a hedgehog, curl up in a ball like a hedgehog if they want. So we're doing lots of nice floating there because we're nice and warmed up to it by this point. We're going to jump in some muddy puddles. So we could jump in like the leaf shape. So feet together, toes over the edge, arms out and jump. Or we could have feet together, toes over the edge, arms by our side, jumping in. They could just flop in, sitting and flopping forwards as well. We could allow, let the parent guide them in as well. We could do a seat hold. Oh, I keep forgetting. So can you do like a leaf shape for the seat hold? Whoa. Getting that bit of balance in, bobbing them up and down, things. Co-floating. So after that lovely stroll through the garden and the down by the river and the lake, the trees, the woods, the forest, wherever you've gone for your little stroll, we could come home for cuddles. So we could do some co-floating. So they could either float together with the child facing up, trying to get the parent just to hold the hands so that the body's supported by the water and the parent's body. Have them facing the parent while the parent swims. If they're a little bit older, we could swing them round and they could like have some squirrel rides, swimming on the backs like this. So lots of things like that. So that's really nice. So that's kind of the theme. So I'm just going to look up my notes, see if there's anything else. Where's my other? Got that many things open. I'm just going to pause you while I find it. Found it. Okay, so I'm just going to have a little look. So reef raking, leaf raking. I've not got my rakes with me, but if you know what a rake is like the tool, so we could get them to rake in leaves as well, so we can have a bit of a play with that scooping effect. Obviously, we're going to say to them, yeah, it's better with your fingers closed, but just for like example. Sorry, I was looking through my notes. So yeah, we've got the rain, the wind, the thunder, and tidying the garden. So if you don't have these leaves, you could just put in some different equipment in the pool, anything, because like I'm sure if you've got children, your garden gets a bit of a mess. They've got everything everywhere. We could do a bit of tidying up the garden instead for winter ready. We could work a little bit more on that wind as well. So we could swim across like a wind and then blow ourselves back to the wall. Work a little bit more on that. We could get a pumpkin in the pool because as you all know, pumpkins float. We could hold the pumpkin, use it as a kickboard, do kicking practice, kicking up the leaves. Um, sorry, I'm reading my notes. Yeah, lovely. So then the songs I've got. Let me move this one over here. Up here. It's hard to remember everything. Oh, okay. So I've got three little pumpkins in a pumpkin patch. So it goes. Three little pumpkins rolled around the patch one day. They rolled all around, but they didn't like the ground, so one pumpkin rolled away. Two little pumpkins rolled around the patch one day. They rolled round and round, but they didn't like the ground, so one pumpkin rolled away. One little pumpkin rolled around the patch one day. They rolled round and round, but they didn't like the ground, so one pumpkin rolled away. To the tune of Flying Saucer. So again, they could be doing rotation for this one, couldn't they? A bit of independent rotation. They could do it standing on a wall and then they jump in when one rolled away. They could do log rolls off a mat. They can do backwards rolls off a mat. Lots of things like that. So jumping up and down. I have to say, this is probably my least favourite song because it's the most requested song in my classes. If I was to say to children, what song should we sing? I can guarantee you 99 out of 100 children are going to say the tractor song. Don't know why, they love it. Maybe because they know that I'm like, oh, maybe they do it for that, I don't know. But basically, everyone gets to choose a colour. Maybe it's because they like the choice. So say, for example, they chose red, we'd sing, jumping up and down on a big red tractor, jumping up and down on a big red tractor, jumping up and down on a big red tractor, bringing in the hay, hey, and then jump up really high. And then they choose different tractors. You could automate up, bounce up and down on a big orange pumpkin, bounce up and down on a big orange pumpkin, Rolling around their pool. Boom. Bouncing up and down on the combine harvester. Bringing in the harvest. Yay. Well, the songs we've got Dingle Dangle Scarecrow. I love this one. This is a lovely one for floating. I think because they know that what the time limit is for that floating, they're more likely to be happy doing it. So it goes, when all the cows are sleeping and the sun has gone to bed, up jumped the scarecrow, and this is what he said. I'm a dingle dangle scarecrow with a flippy floppy hat. I can shake my hands like this, I can shake my feet like that. And then it goes, when all the hens are roosting and the moon's behind a cloud, up jumped the scarecrow and shouted very loud. I'm a dingle dangle scarecrow with a flippy floppy hat. I can shake my hands like this, I can shake my feet like that. Shake your feet, come on. And then there's a third verse. Um, when the dogs are in the kennels and the doves are in the loft, up jump the scarecrow, whisper very soft. I, ah, tinkle, tinkle, scarecrow. This I can shoot. I think you can ask them which one they preferred, the loud, the soft, or the normal one. And it's nice because everyone with different needs gets one that they like in there. Sleeping bunnies. So sleeping bunnies, you could do sleeping squirrels. So see the sleeping squirrel sleep until it's nearly noon. Shall we wake them with a merry tune? They're so still. Are they ill? Shh. Wake up soon. Wake up, squirrels! Climb, little squirrels, climb, climb, climb. Climb, little squirrels, climb, climb, climb. Climb, little squirrels, climb, 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 climb. Substitute it for any animal, the bunny. I don't know what else is to do with autumn. I hear thunder, so I hear thunder splash. I hear thunder. Hark, don't you? Hark, don't you? Pitter patter raindrop, pitter patter raindrops. I went through, so are you. Okay, let's have a look. I think I've got some more in my book. Yeah, so if you've got my book, page 123. So this goes to the tune of head, shoulders, knees and toes, and it's colours. So orange, yellow, red and brown, red and brown. Orange, yellow, red and brown, red and brown. The autumn leaves are twirling to the ground. Orange, yellow, red and brown, red and brown. So it's nice because you're getting a little bit of rotation in there as well. But you could say, so the autumn leaves are twirling, so the autumn leaves are floating on the ground. Orange, yellow, red and brown, red and brown. Um, and you could do the autumn leaves are falling to the ground, so you could have them stood on the side. The autumn leaves are falling to the ground. Ready, big jumping. Orange, yellow, red and brown, red and brown. So that's a nice one for autumn. Oh, I've done a row, row, row your boat as well. So, row, row, row your boat past the autumn trees, and if you see a squirrel, kick and paddle, please. Crunch, 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 the leaves falling on the ground. Be careful of the hedgehog, curled up nice and round. So again, we can get some floating going on, things like that. That's in my book as well. That's on page 126. We've done the pumpkins. So there's another one, autumn leaves. Autumn leaves are falling down, falling down, falling down. The autumn leaves are falling down. Rake, falling to the ground. Can't get that one right. Take a rake and rake them up, rake them up, rake them up. Take a rake and rake them up, rake them up. Make a pile and jump right in, jump right in, jump right in. Make a pile and jump right in, jump right in. Yes. Yeah, so that's some autumn ideas for you. Just trying to think if there's anything else I've done this week. Um, the tree climbing we mentioned, the weather, the things, lots of symbolism with floating like a leaf, jumping in like a leaf. autumn songs that are going to be nice and floating. The poo sticks, we mentioned the poo sticks that will push and glides like a stick. So yeah, so I mean, you could adapt it for all ages, babies, toddlers, preschoolers, beginner swimmers. If they haven't got the parents in, it's just the same, but they're going to be more independent, obviously. Uh, intermediate swimmers as well. We can maybe get them to decorate their tree by swimming length of a certain stroke. Yeah. Sculling could be like a leaf swishing, sculling. Um, yeah, so anyway, I hope that was useful. Like I say, if you don't know who I am and you're just watching this on YouTube randomly, my name's Emma Holden. You can find me on www.swimplay.co.uk, one of those backslashes, forward slashes, aquatic dash roleplay dash themes. Yeah, thank you very much.